excavator, and I didn't touch it. Seemed like they have to go.
I think they brought a big 450 in to do that, which is a good sized Treco.
Thanks for the question. Well, moving on to committee reports. Parks, Justin?
Things, the pool's open. Oh, and everything's come first so far. By basketball courts, they got that sealed. They were supposed to get the lines painted. Friday off the line.
This look nice, I didn't see it yet.
Yeah. Same people that just did the sewer plant driveway out there.
When was that? 6 years ago, maybe? Longer than that.
That's the concession stand.
No. Literally, I would think that we should be digging.
Okay. Just hadn't heard anything a little close. We're trying to simplify it. Okay.
Building inspector, one of the things that he recommended was setting that back closer to the pool than what we were projecting the new one to be. He said it really shouldn't stick out any farther than the building that's already there.
We can't do all of it, but we could make it better.
We can certainly make it look a lot nicer and slide that back into that corner between the baby pool.
Yeah, kind of angle a little more towards the baby pool, set it that way. Okay.
And that's a suggestion from our building, it's not the state.
Okay. Well,
The only thing that has to be approved by the state is the state plumbing inspector has to approve plans.
Okay.
Everything else is through the county health department.
Okay. So once they get the foundation in, we're gonna have to have it.
We're talking about maybe just putting a couple of less toilets in. Rather than 2 toilets in each bathroom, just put 1 toilet.
We started discussing, instead of having a men's bathroom and a women's bathroom, we're gonna have a neutral bathroom involved. So
and we figured no matter if you're going in there to change baby's diaper or going to the bathroom, you're going to go in along the door. So why have two?
why have 2 toilets in each one?
Have a handicap in each one.
You're looking for vandalism and everything. In my opinion, you're looking for vandalism when you start putting stalls around them.
And you got closed toilets.
And you got 2 toilets to maintain.
Just simplifying it a little bit. It should save us some money, and if that helps, and we can carry that money over to the west side next year.
And possibly if they could move, take enough space off those bathrooms, you talk about maybe having a little area of an overhang poolside where you can put a picnic table or
Maintain the same size of the building and just make the bathrooms a little bit smaller.
little area with a picnic table or
Someplace
something.
where you either put a picnic table or garbage can. or
Garbage
something.
can, recycling can, something. That's all I got.
Is that it? Jimmy?
I have none for streets. Building permits. I've got 4 solar panels, 5 fences, 1 deck, 1 pool, garages, sheds.
Thank you, Jim. Keith?
Oh, no official report. Our young guys have been stepping up with their shoulders and doing a good job. Good.
I wanted to report that I have gone to 3 webinars so far this month. I've been in the office 4 weeks. Went to 3 different webinars already. One on creating age-friendly communities. We're talking about an 8 to 80 design, trying to add things to your community that appeals to those that are 8 as well as 80. Things that you can do to keep older population more mobile at home, things that they'll be looking for. And then I also took another webinar on what's called Reversing the Exodus, keeping young people here. And they have a ton of really good ideas about things that we can do, particularly with, it's kind of a backhanded blessing after COVID, that so many are working remotely, which means they can live rurally, as long as we have the infrastructure, broadband, things like that, to keep them here. I also took a class in broadband funding. I wasn't sure what the full status in terms of where we are broadband wise. I thought I'd take it since they talked about it in the class. I've taken my open meeting class. The other thing I wanted to mention is that, it became apparent this weekend that, several people don't know who I am yet. So I would take a second to introduce myself. I am the daughter of a civil servant and an elected official. I'm a college graduate several times over. I had 3 careers before I was 30. I have worked at least a decade in Park and Rec seasonally. I have worked about 5 years in law enforcement, and I also worked as a middle school and high school English teacher. I spent 8 years volunteering for Girl Scouts, for which I was recognized twice for things that I had done. And I also was on the board of the Polo Community Theater as its vice president for 7 years. So I just wanted everybody to know kind of who I was, because many of those things didn't happen lived here. They happened before I lived here. And most everybody here only knows me as a mom to 2 teenagers and a wife to my husband of 20 years. So I wanted to make sure everybody not only remembered my name next time, but knew what I was about and my experience. Thank you.
Yeah, apologize for the,
Not sure.
the
You tried, Doug. I appreciate it. And so did Tim Kavanaugh. I appreciate it, but it is what it is.
I think, and
Thank you.
rather than,
Hold on.
I know.
rather than getting a list of the people, which we should have got him a list, he was going by sight,
Yeah,
and he didn't know you.
I know. That's fine.
So
I get that. I used to DJ. I used to do what he does. That was one of the things I did when I got out of college. So as a professional speaker, it's awkward when there's a flood
Yeah,
like
and
that.
that was a little awkward. Apologize for that.
We'll get it fixed. They won't forget my name now.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else on the
Nope. Other than that, we're good.
Randy?
We had our meeting with Matt Hansen, or we had a meeting with Matt Hansen in there the other day. They got some pretty lofty ideas for our water plant. $1.3 million us to drill that well and put a building over it. He's got several other things in the city. We will be able to pick and choose. One of the things that I think we really need to pay attention is the 3-inch water main thing. I think those need to go. I think that's something that we need to pay attention to. Another thing that I don't think any of us were aware of was the lead pipe service thing. According to what we were told in that meeting, we can have all of that done for nothing, is the way I understood it. So pretty much we kind of told him, if that can be done for nothing, I don't see why we're not doing it. Because that was something that I think
Are
2
most
years.
of those still just along 26?
No, it's spotty, Justin, around a lot up here maybe, I think maybe even down by me, there might be some. I mean, where they've dug them up, I think they've fixed them, but that, that hasn't been everywhere. But the EPA was hitting on the deal, I think about 2 years ago when Mike went to a meeting up there.
Mm-hmm.
So when they start mentioning it, then eventually it's going to become some sort of a law or something they want done. So,
That was a flip debacle, actually.
Right,
That was at the
exactly.
Top of their list.
so I believe we're going to move forward with that, but you guys need to be thinking about how we want to all approach this, I mean, he had 21 different projects that he had on this sheet. For a total of, how much was it altogether?
Wasn't it like 11 or 12 million?
$12 million. But we can get 400,000 for each one of them, depending on how far we want to go. And you got to know that before any of this would happen, we will be done with the water tower. What was the
2023.
total? Like if we were doing the whole thing, the total payment was
Oh, what the city would pay?
147,000 a year, maybe, or something.
Maybe.
I don't remember.
that. You're better with numbers, with remembering them than I am.
Anyway, I mean, there's a lot to think of here. Jimmy was here for part of it, but it
For every 400,000 they're gonna give us, we have to spend an additional 400,000.
400,000, correct?
So I think
half of the
if we were to do like all the projects, wasn't like isn't it 5 or 6 million the city would actually be spending?
I believe so.
If
so.
we did every single project, which
Out of
we're
how-
not going
How many
to.
million?
Out of 12, under 12 million?
We'd be paying what?
The
5?
overall, yeah, 5 or 6 million.
But
But
there is big projects involved.
Which,
Most
oh,
likely
yeah.
majority of them would.
Some of
Won't
them,
do or long term.
some of them are, like, here's an example of one of them. You know, we've heard the subdivision thing and the whole EDC thing, you know. Well, one of the projects was going to the end of Wilson, coming down Lincoln, and putting water and sewer there, all through there. I forget how much that was.
Yeah.
That, if in fact that TIF was to get off and kicking like it's supposed to, would be one of them projects that we would not have to worry about. The TIF could pay for something like that. If in fact that's where the subdivision was gonna go, and we needed water and sewer out there.
You might mention that too, Randy. About the,
Oh,
the status of the PEDs.
Our TIF got extended.
Well, not officially.
Yeah,
But
it
Yeah,
passed through Congress and the Senate.
Yeah.
Now the governor's got to
It's
sign.
got to be on the governor's desk, but there was some confusion. I'm not sure on whose part. We were told late night, or I was told late night, and I forwarded it to her. But then she was told that it had got taken off and that it did not go through. So I text Tom Dimmer, and Tom said, "No, that's not me." And he sent me copies of everything in a text message. So I assume it's on the governor's desk is where it's at right now.
So what that does, that puts us ahead on our, on the subdivision project and the fact that we don't have to wait any longer for our TIF to be extended, which brings funds into the process of the infrastructure in that area.
The next step there is to find a landowner that will
Spend some money,
spend some money.
or even investors.
I mean, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention to real estate.
Building materials,
Butch Hunt's house, what, in 2 or 3 days? Or something like that? Place up here on Mason went for $225. Place over by Harlan Nets to the north of him, $165,000. Yeah. Just, wow. And I think, Jimmy, you'd agree, if you had 10 houses to sell right now, they'd go. But that's about all. It'll be an interesting thing once we finally get to the table after he does all this stuff, you know. But the lead pipe thing,
and
We
when
need
is
to
the
go.
water paid off?
2023.
2023.
which would be, we won't be starting this stuff.
No, but
That-
at least we'll be out of debt again.
That's another for everybody to think about. It looks like we're finally got this DECO thing, if I'm relaying this information right. Do we want to put that out for bid and try to start that? Or do we wait until next summer? There's a chance that, you know, like something might be tore up and it might stay that way all winter long.
Oh.
So
Everybody's so busy.
So I think we're going to have a hard time finding somebody that's even going to come here to start it. But
We're okay.
Who knows?
We're okay with our Cynthia.
I met some regarding the subdivision. Where's the property? Has it already been purchased or is it
no,
consideration?
No, it's
no.
just speculation.
it's all speculation.
You know where Park was? Paul's
Across
Automotive
from the
Repair
old,
Shop.
schoolhouse?
No, down here, south of town.
Oh, yes, okay, yes.
Repair shop. Behind the repair shop is Doug McDuffie's house. And then that field between there and would be Faber's house, which is on Oriole. It'd be for now just one street there, right?
Actually, the street be in the meadows. Or, well, actually, the street would probably be come in off of Wilson. If
Yeah.
in fact we do the property that Larry owns. If in fact that happens.
Right.
It'd be on where I live, it would be on the west side of the fence line that runs right dead behind me.
How many houses?
9 or 12, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Well-
just to get started.
It can possibly hold.
54 or 5.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because,
on the lot side.
yeah, because Larry Mooring owns the western property, and then other owners own the south.
Yeah, no, then if you went by me, going west out of town, turn on Maple there, the houses that are on your left on the west side of you, all that land back there is also in the TIF, which is the deal with the land behind me, that's in the TIF. So,
And we're kind of going off of a plan that Shannon had done years ago, getting them into a TIF district as far as the financing and the infrastructure to pay for that, to make the lots accessible and available for the right price. So that's the reason we're extended the TIF, because what were we, like 6 years out of the end of our TIF or something?
yes,
Yeah,
I think
it's about right.
So they extended it like
23 years.
on a third, yep, so they extended it another 23 years, so we have enough time to get it done.
the town you're talking about is Pearl City.
Pearl City, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Pearl City did the same exact thing that we're trying to accomplish.
And the two guys that initiated that have been in the mix with the conversation with the Economic Development Corporation, given guidance and what worked and what didn't work for us to be able to use a. It is, and hence where Beth said the bringing the people from the city and DC Computers is right in with bringing the high-speed internet. So, we're just trying to do that thing.
It'd be nice too, if they allowed internet and if the telephone companies in here, AT&T, right, allow internet to go fiber optic. They do not allow it.
The fiber optics only run to certain places,
Yeah,
the school,
right
the
now,
library,
that's about it.
and it.
Fiber optic would be run.
Yeah, it's run up and down the street and then run over to the school. But
Yeah.
you get your wallet out and you let me know how much they cost you.
If I can bring them
And I
in.
tell you what, though, what Doug's doing over at Doug Carlson at DC Computers is highly competitive, and the equipment he's got and what he's doing is pretty quick.
And he has an agreement to use fiber optic now.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. So he's gonna be
Yeah.
getting that, I don't, get that from about.
Like Jackie,
Yeah.
fiber optic technology.
But it's still faster.
I know, but what I'm saying is,
Well,
It is
here,
here.
but so
It's
expensive.
here.
everywhere,
Yeah, well,
my house, elsewhere.
okay. Well, you get all your money out and you let us know when you want to pay for it all. Because that'd be the problem up here, how we're gonna pay for it.
Okay. Chief?
I had a conversation with Troy today. And he so out there for his return right now. He's feeling better. He looks better.
Oh, yeah.
And starting to gain weight back.
Yeah. He looked good at the parade.
Yep.
But get it ready to get rid of his bag and
Oh, yeah.
call that history. So
Yeah.
that's cool. Glad to see that happen. Sydney?
No report.
Okay. Moving on to old business. Consideration of possible action on ordinance 21-11 and ordinance amending the Polo Code of Ordinances 112.1 and 112.16, limitation on the numbers, Class A and D liquor licenses, and this is the second reading.
This is just taking the dead liquor license off the book, right?
Yep.
All you need is a motion, right? So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Randy, seconded by DJ. All those, sorry. I will.
Alderman Grove,
Yes.
Alderman Busser,
Yes.
Alderman Chestnut,
Yes.
Alderman Sanders.
Yes.
Alderwoman Sunman,
Yes.
and Alderman Schoen.
There's probably no way to. Not there?
No, you're the boss.
You guys are waiting for the golf cart thing, aren't you? Would you like me to? Yeah. I could stay with the agenda, or we can move. Okay, okay,
learn something over here.
okay. Okay, moving on to B. Consideration of possible action on 2112, in order to amending Polo Code of Ordinances 152.139A, 1, number of members for zoning board of appeals, and this is the second reading. This is as per state qualifications.
There are two alternatives.
Okay.
The one that came up the last meeting that I had done, and then there was a question about, well, statute actually says 7 or 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, then they all revert to 5-year terms after that. So I did that as a secondary matter. That's mainly for when you're just establishing a brand new zoning board of appeals, but I think if either way will be for whatever the council wants.
Okay. Any comments on the way it was presented, or if there's a preference? DJ, did you look at what?
I mean, I still would prefer to see us go with the 1 through 7, the way the statute reads, but what you guys want to do?
We'll make a motion at that point.
Move to 21-12 in the form of 1 through 7 years.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? If not, would you take roll, please, Sydney?
Alderman Buster?
Yes.
Alderman Chestnut?
Yes.
Alderman Sanders?
Yeah.
Alderwoman Sundman?
Yes.
Alderman Schoen?
Yeah.
Alderman Grove?
Judge Judy is speaking right now.
The consideration of possible action on 2113, an ordinance amending the Polo Code of Ordinances 152.085B, pet shops as permitted use in B1, and this is the second reading as well.
Move to adopt ordinance 21-13.
What's this all about?
This is about allowing a pet shop in town if somebody wants to open a pet shop, provided they follow the regulations of the county health department and what?
Well, then, if it's passed, then we'll need to amend the animal ordinance. Says that there can be no more than 4 animals. So we would then, except for kennels, those are counted already. But this then would be exempted.
Yeah.
As well.
So,
Someone had expressed interest.
Somebody did
And-
express.
Somebody had talked about wanting to open a pet shop.
that doesn't mean we're gonna amend the 4 animals that out.
No, it would just make an amendment
The only
for
amendment it would
businesses.
make it be added to,
Okay.
they would be added to more animals with kennels.
You do that and I'll have a dozen dogs.
They just want 4 kittens or so.
Okay. I have something for you after the meeting too. Very interesting story.
You have a motion to that?
DJ made it.
21-13.
Second that motion?
Second.
Beth, any discussion on that? Not, I'll entertain we'll take a roll.
Alderman Chestnut?
Yes.
Alderman Sanders?
Yes.
Alderwoman Sundman?
Yes.
Alderman Schoen?
Yes.
Alderman Grove?
Yes.
Alderman Buster?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Getting there. D, consideration of possible action on ordinance 2114, an ordinance amending the Polo Code of Ordinances 152.139E and 152.10B3 zoning board of appeals to recommend recommendations to city council to have the final decision making authority. Let's see.
That's the way we've always interpreted it,
Right.
but it's been both ways in the book.
Correct. There's one that said that the zoning board of appeals had final decision-making regarding variances. And then there was another section that said that they make the recommendation and the city council has the final say. So this deletes the first option, and then the council has the option, the final say, and it sets these time limits for making those decisions.
Although the city could,
Refer it back,
Refer it
and then
back
it
to
starts
the-
the time limits over again. But you know what? In 25 years or so, I can't remember a time where the city council referred anything back to the zoning board of appeals for further study. But, you know, it leaves the option open to do that.
In the 10 years I've been here, I think we've not accepted their recommendation once, I think. And I don't even remember what that was about. I make a motion that we have it that the council has the final say.
made by Randy, seconded by DJ. Any discussion on the matter? Not, you want to take roll?
Alderman Sanders,
Yes.
Alderwoman Sundman,
Yes.
Alderman Schoen,
Yes.
Alderman Brogue,
Yes.
Alderman Busser,
Yes.
Alderman Chestnut.
Just consider it council action in first reading. There.
Okay, I'm gonna move down to, we're gonna move to new business. I'm gonna move down to B, and we just, the ordinance on this back from the recommendation of the zoning board of appeals. Can move on the first reading tonight, or if anybody wants to have another more, time to look at this, we could wait.
The
next
fence
meeting.
thing,
Yeah.
Yes.
is this the stuff we've already had trouble with?
Allowing a 6-foot fence on the lot line.
This is where the Polo Zoning Board of Appeals has recommended that you can put the 72-inch fence on the lot line, provided you have a survey without a variance.
Yeah, you don't have to request a variance through the zoning board of appeals
You
anymore.
can just put a 6-foot fence on the line.
There are some conditions, restrictions.
Is this the one that we've had, you've had a couple calls on already complaining about this very thing right now? And we haven't even enacted it yet,
Right.
and we're having trouble. That's exactly what I was afraid of. And you're,
Well, I mean, we can go ahead and discuss it and move on it tonight, or,
Well, you would just accept the first reading.
Yeah, the first reading only tonight.
yeah, then we could have further, yeah, well, let's just do that. We need a form of motion, right?
No,
No, it's automatically, put on the
Okay,
agenda.
well,
for the next meeting
at least do that, and then we'll move on to the second reading and
at the next meeting.
and have our discussion then. Okay, consideration of possible action on changing the Polo Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8, golf carts and utility task vehicles. It's been recommended that we allow UTVs on Mason Street. And even further discussion, do you want to discuss what your feelings are on it, Keith?
I'd like to strike out A, B, C, and D on the prohibited streets and just leave the highway off limits. I agree with that.
In other words, then, East Dixon, West Dixon, East Oregon and West Oregon, and Mason are all acceptable, and Franklin.
okay, one thing here. We had quite the conversation today about this. What are we gonna do about the people that are coming from other towns? Okay, like, I believe if I remember correctly, remember that club that came here
Dixon.
from Dixon? And we said, no, you don't have, I think we told them they did not have to have our
No, they thought they were allowed to use their Dixon sticker.
Okay. I think something that would be advantageous here is to contact the towns around us. And I don't know if they all want to adopt the same type of thing, but it sure would be nice. Yes, exactly. That way it'd make this man's life and his,
What's your suggestion?
One registration
for all of
for
us.
any town.
To me, it should be, because this reason, one is, when they came in, well, not only for you, but they came in and said, well, you know, we come into town and we're spending money on gas, food, and this and that.
Absolutely.
But what have we been doing for 20 years in their towns? Supporting them, because we didn't have a grocery store, and we didn't have this, we didn't have that.
Yep.
So to me, it'd be nice if we could get with them, to do that, one flat fee.
Oh, yeah,
Divide up the revenue.
Yeah.
That per-
well, I don't know about divide up the revenue. Just, like, okay, let's just use Mount Morris. Okay? If you're from Mount Morris and you got that sticker, you're okay in Polo. If you're from Polo and you're in Mount Morris and you got that sticker,
There has to be one adaptation to all rules, I mean, as far as, you have one set of rules that covers all the time. That includes the 11 o'clock curfew for UTV. That includes the 18-year-old and under cannot drive. Okay? That includes the 50 mile an hour speed limit. I mean, as long as the cities that are all together can abide by that, that's kind of where you're probably going to run into.
Has anybody looked into their ordinance to see if that applies?
I mean, I don't know what Dixon has for theirs. I thought that ours was based on.
Off of different ones.
We had ours before Dixon.
I know a lot of towns have contacted us and asked for our ordinance.
A lot of them are basing their ordinances off of ours.
It's.
Mount Carroll
Is there a reason we have to have?
Mount Carroll,
I
for
think it's more or less
instance,
safety on Dixon's, or Park Trail. Because they're traveling on the Park District Trail, going back to Dixon. That's exactly what
Yeah,
it is.
that's right. Yeah.
I think as far as honoring your other town or county stickers registration, it's not so much a revenue thing. It's, okay, they've already been through and shown that they've got whatever lighting and stuff that's required. Because those are all going to be pretty universal anyway. They're showing that they've gone through the process, that the machines are equipped how they're supposed to be equipped.
It'd be nice when we get to the point, like Wisconsin, despite Wisconsin today, good for the whole state.
Can you get some of these towns and have a reciprocating of the program?
What do the snowmobile
That's what
clubs
we're
do?
discussing.
How do the snowmobile
That's
clubs?
Snowmobiles
Oh, that's by DNR. Okay.
They don't really want to see.
No, that's not what I was. I just was wondering who was in charge of that.
If you go Justin's route, as far as, that would be a state.
Eventually,
It would.
Curfew bother you guys?
So
I
what
didn't
would,
know there was a curfew.
I don't think some of the people that might have. I would venture to say that nobody knows what curfew talks about.
I think one thing you're going to grab some heat from is letting them park uptown in them parking spots. I think you're going to catch some heat about that.
It's a trade for them. I mean, if they want to allow the parking in front of and they're taking up spots for vehicles, let them. I mean, I'll put it to you this way, Randy. From 8 o'clock until bar closing, there's no restaurant traffic. It's going to be just their businesses.
Not like that.
And as long as the UTVs are staying off of the Division, and they're not rip roaring up and down the highway, creating a havoc that way, that's fine. As long as they're following our, the rules of the road and the ordinance the way that it's written. If they want them to be able to park in front of their establishments, let them park in front of them.
So what's the difference having a car that's got 4 people in it or one of those 4-seaters that have 4 people? It's still 4 customers in the place.
So, did you guys, you go off Dixon?
we had ours before Dixon.
Dave Ackman started this whole thing. And I think actually we based a lot of our stuff off the state, and wasn't there state guidelines?
we took about 3 or 4 different ordinances from cities that were comparable to ours that had UTV. And then we read through them all and picked the good parts that we thought were applicable. So I'm wondering, what was our reason for curfew when we put it in there?
I don't think we knew that. I had a lot of people from Dixon.
What's Dixon's curfew?
I don't know. I think they did it out the park. That's when they shut down. Well,
I think originally, to be quite honest with you, I think our curfew was dusk.
I think it was a lot earlier than.
Yes, and then we went back because we had some people come to us.
Like after a year or
Yes,
something, wasn't it?
yes, yes,
Yeah, no one knew.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
I
Cause we tried for a year.
Quarter to 11, and then at 11 o'clock, say, hey, you gotta go home.
So now what?
So really, we only have what, 3 towns? Us, Mount Morris, Dixon?
You know, I honestly, I don't know.
Almost every Sunday, Jeff and I get a bunch of people from Big River.
Maybe
Come to my
4,
place to go to Jeff.
maybe 4, 24.
Mount
Yeah,
Morris,
I'm not
Mount
sure.
Morris
It's a
is
long way to
by
come
the-
on a UTV.
I'm sure Deep River actually has an ordinance.
I don't think they do.
I don't think so.
But I'm saying, we have a lot of people from.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Lakewood
debating
that come
that.
over. And they do have an inspection out there for one week. They asked me, are we gonna have to get a sticker like they had in Deep River Cross?
Oh, so they did, okay.
They already have, they've already been inspected.
Like I said, this is a discussion that can be tabled as far as the registration, but now as far as us, the ordinance, the streets, I think everybody's kind of in the conclusion that we're running by conditions.
But if we start letting people come over here and they don't know the rules, you know what I'm saying? Like say we let Lee, or start letting Lee Freeburg come over here, and they don't know our rules. That's not hardly fair to them to start ticketing them.
Well, here's the thing, is that on the
Sign.
trail, I remember putting the map on the trail, showing what
Yeah.
roads can and cannot be driven.
Yep.
So that would just have to be up.
You talking about the map down by
Yeah, but they're
the,
not gonna be,
It's on the walking trail.
yeah, okay.
problem is that's only Dixon track.
So I've got a
So
question.
I think we should have an entry point. Every paper.
I'm sorry?
I think when you get with all the councils.
My question is there any reason why we couldn't make the curfew later without it being policeable or safe? Is there a reason that it's 11 and is that working
I
good
think
for
it
us?
started off at dusk and then it got moved to 11 to accommodate some of the traffic. To be honest with you, there's never been any kind of citation written to the UTV that has been out after 11 o'clock.
Yeah, and I just heard,
If we do make contact, it's paid. Before you leave, we can be able to use.
is there anything keeping us from extending the curfew to a
You
time?
guys,
And here's my question to you then. With that being said, what curfew would the policing part of it be comfortable with, or is it an issue? I mean, if we made it bar time, Is that an
honestly,
issue?
I think you're making an issue out of nothing.
I don't see any difference between a car driving home at 150.
See, that's my point.
Driving home at 150.
So let's say your UTV is not the curfew.
We tried that because no one knew what was going on.
Right.
I remember the meeting
We
we were
had
at.
one.
You can't say it's a police issue because that hurt, we don't complain about
Wisconsin did this, Peter and I.
And we knew all along when we first started this, we were gonna change as we went.
Everyone that was.
You guys said that at the beginning, they changed everything.
There you go.
So I guess what the question is as long as we're gonna be changing the streets that they're allowed on, it would be an ideal time to change the curfew as well. And then it wouldn't be an issue because everybody knows that that's the time.
But the thing about it is, Mayor, for some of these AT or UTVs, or whatever they're called, that are street legal, you get license.
Right, not
So
too
you gotta
many
tell
of them.
them at 11 o'clock, they gotta get off the
If there's a
street.
license plate, then there's not an issue with the vehicle.
You shouldn't have a curfew start.
I think that also, before you guys make that decision, I think that you should also converse with Brown.
Yeah, I think so. My list is
As far as the
12.
curfew thing's concerned,
Yeah, but I don't care
Boy,
about that.
and
I don't care what
and the
people
sticker.
do. I'm worried about if old people, if they wanna ride up
Oh,
here,
yeah.
go home at
When you
1:30.
started this, was
Do
it
you
also
want-
golf carts or is it both?
I think if we try and talk.
Does it
Justin?
look like- I didn't know if they've grown in popularity since.
Do you just want the towns in our area?
Well, I have
Sticker.
Polo, Dixon, Mount Morris, Forest, and Lee
Because I don't
Freeburg,
see
the
my
only
golf
towns
carts
that
anymore. I see most of
can-
the
Well, I know Morrison, or
Milledgeville?
Milledgeville just recently,
They
like
did?
within
Last
the state,
time
no, she inquired. So I don't know if it's getting passed or not.
They inquired before, but he doesn't want it.
Oh.
That's hard to do, Joe, if you don't know.
Cause I have a clerks group that's just Ogle County, and then I have a clerks group that's
You're trying to
Northern
squeeze every
Illinois.
last dime.
So I can
I
send
know what you're
emails
doing,
out to
okay?
either one of
I'm
those
worried about the people that are gonna
organizations
come
and
here and don't know the rules. We have some type of uniformity.
I'm not gonna try to-
Let's change our rules to help our people and let the other towns
Deal.
conform to that if they want.
I mean, staying open all night or letting them go all night's not a big deal. But maybe not having all the lights or having something that we require or something of that nature. We can't hardly start shooting people out of town because they don't know our rules.
Are most of the rules the same?
That's what we're,
Be nice.
Tim's saying is trying.
Inspection, state inspection?
no.
It's local.
It follows the ILCS of vehicular light.
I'll tell you, I've had people from Dixon come up and you guys mess with them.
It depends on if that community adopts.
Oh, yeah, we have,
More than added the lights and help you, respect you guys.
yeah, we have a lot of Dixon people that register for 'em.
So how would we wanna go about contacting the other cities?
Well, like Sydney just said, she's in the city clerk group with Ogle County.
And Northern Illinois,
And who else?
and Northern Illinois
You know
Municipal
what,
Clerk.
Amboy's another town, sorry, I misunderstood you, that it made it sound like Amboy. That they can ride. So that'd be another town to talk to.
Right.
Just let them know, hey, this is what we're doing, are you guys on board with, as long as you have your local sticker, we're accepting you're good in our town.
So who's our liaison? Sydney,
Right now, for part of it,
you would be
I can
willing
get with,
to take that on?
what's the
It's
name
just
of this?
sending out an email.
I think it's great to put
Chili's,
that
buddy.
information out to the other towns, but I still think we do our own thing here and take care of our people. I want to follow suit.
I mean, it's not like every night that Dixon comes up here. Once a month, maybe.
I still
All people, they wanna ride here every day.
I still can't believe that the state has not got on board with this. The county has not got on board. I mean, you go out in the country, guys, I think we've all been in the country, and they're up and down gravel roads like they're tomorrow.
And the county guys I've talked to, they say, hey, if you're just going along, you're not causing any problems, they're not gonna bother you.
And I don't know. You can try to tell me. Very trouble.
I know that there's.
Besides, are they, there's sales all over.
There's been some complaints, but as a whole, I mean, it's just like your society, you're gonna have that 2% or 1%, you know, that just, you know.
There's always one guy.
Yeah, exactly what it comes down to. Exactly.
So is there anything before we get a hold of these other cities that's keeping us from getting him going on an ordinance as far as the streets and the curfew? As far as we want it?
Take care of both.
We discussed back when John Mandel was chief, changing G11, which talks about the maximum occupancy.
It has been changed, it
That's
just
never-
hasn't been codified.
Yeah.
Yep,
We did
Yeah.
that.
For available.
Cause we brought that up, yeah.
but in that change and have all the rules and regulations, so I just went with this one instead of adding this ordinance.
The other thing too is that to get to Main Street, I don't know if I was talking to you about it or not, but maybe they'll use the west side of Mason there, like by the floral shop and park there. You don't even have to cross, they can just walk downtown.
I told someone that the other day.
Same where, like now where they park down by Dale.
For the car show,
Walk
that's
this
where the
way.
bike spark is over in front of Norm's. Norm's,
problem with them crossing.
Yeah, you can
There's no
cross.
problem crossing. It's just going up and
it's
down.
supposed to go at a 45-degree angle.
45, no,
90.
What do we do about people like Salter Heights?
Straight across, that's the 90.
There's 3 or 4 people down there that got them.
Then, you know what though, I mean, you're only utilizing to get to the next turnout.
To the first street in town.
If they utilize like the parking area, cause there's a parking area on that bridge, and that's outside the lines,
Mhm.
they're coming up through there. We are not going to be attacking them, but as long as they're turning on
Trail.
Elkhorn, that's
The backside of the cemetery that gets you around in by the old.
The old railroad bridge.
The bridge is gone, ain't it?
No, I know, but to get you to
get it this way.
Get you a fair amount.
Yeah.
And then bring you in. I think somebody's got to trail back on the other side.
As long as people are using their.
Go. Has anybody in this room been? Has anybody in this room been in Darlington, Wisconsin?
Yeah.
They've been around on them. There's more of them in town than there are cars, I think.
Yeah,
People from Polo,
I think
trail are up there.
we just got 70 registrations.
Did you really?
So that's the way we're gonna leave it then, is let Tom go ahead and work the ordinance?
Clarify for me what 80.03E is. What is the time limit? Just repeal the whole paragraph, so there is no time limit at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's, oh, 50 hours.
Oh, okay, so repeal paragraph E.
Because morning melody isn't go somewhere.
Yeah, they kind of got off whatever ship.
Someone gets off at 1 o'clock in the morning, like,
I think if there's an issue after 11, then they're probably not being compliant with any law. It'll probably get taken care of a different way.
Handcuffs.
Probably. Or at least the flip book is saying-
no matter what we do. There's gonna be one person that's complaining. The other 99%.
Because they're following.
And if they did, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now.
I'd go with the odd.
Absolutely.
Basically, if you have a sticker from another town, it'll be legal in Polo.
Yep.
Then we'll see if we can roll the other towns and see if they'll accept it.
Every town.
That's what we're trying to get at.
Okay. Like I say, I know Dixon.
I got a list of at least 6.
What is that?
You talked about the common part?
No, that's what I was bringing up. It's coming up with one drop, one thing. That's across the board.
He just said, it's ready for the next turn.
I didn't know. I don't know anything about that. We don't discuss anything. Can't take any action. Get on the agenda.
See, I just wanted to bring up my discussion I had with Pete Harkness. I talked to all you guys individually after I talked to him. And I basically got back to him and told him things that what it was is Pete Harkness used to have the car lots, wanted to open a game. Well, I talked to you. Yeah, I talked to everybody. But anyway, he wanted to come and open a gaming parlor. And our opinion on gaming parlors is not a real positive one so far. We've turned down several ones, the Shell Station being one, but that had to do with children and other things. But I just, this is my personal opinion, I don't think that it represents us well with a gaming parlor, because if you drive through Dixon, Sterling, Rock Falls, it's just to a point of ridiculousness to me. I mean, yeah. They make them out of houses, little shacks, anywhere and everywhere. Although Pete Harkness he talked about his being a nice, clean facility, and he came in and renovated the place, put $150,000 into it, make it look nice. So I told him that I had talked to everybody involved, and it didn't look good from our standpoint. And being a salesman that he is, he says, well, if I came in and he says, if I came in, he says, and made this building look like this, and it was like this and clean, he says, would they reconsider? I says, you could take yourself on the city agenda at a city council meeting and come and state your point, and I don't know what it would be. He says, well, he says, I'm not gonna do that. He says, you're the mayor, you've talked to him already. He says, well, he says, I was thinking of coming in tomorrow, and I don't know if he ever came back through and looked. He even asked me about coffee. He says, how about a coffee shop? He says, got a place. The guys, and I says, well, they all go to the Shell Station in the morning. And I told him just like we decided with the guys down there, because that's one of the places he mentioned was the pizza place on the corner by the restaurant. I said, we had allowed them a liquor license for beer and wine. And I said, and you talked about letting them have a game machine or two or whatever, provided they serve food. And I told him food would make a big difference in our opinion. So anyway, that's where I left it with him. after I talked to all you guys. I just wanted to let you know that I did get back to him and let him know that it didn't really look favorable.
I-
Place that serves food is gonna lend itself to kids.
To kids, that was just because kids are allowed in Shell.
You're right, though. You're exactly right. You're gonna serve food there, and
Oh,
there's a potential for children as well.
okay. Point well taken.
Gotta be fair.
I got one thing here. I got asked by an ex-mayor of our fair community to ask the question, when is NICOR coming back to do the sidewalks and stuff?
Oh.
And clean everything up? Anybody know the answer to that? How would we go about finding out the answer to that?
Yeah.
I can find out.
Anybody else?
Tell Mark first,
I did.
but if Jeff wants one on this side of you, and Bill wants another cover. Really like that.
Well, he's not in business for that anymore.
Yeah, he's not all that.
Yeah.
Saying,
Well, yeah, so I did mention you guys' viewpoint. I told him your viewpoint, that if it was a full service bar and there was a person working behind the bar, it'd be a different story. I said that was one. I said the other one was, I said he didn't, and Steve felt the same way. Steve felt that it was in his, as far as his business is concerned, he likes it the way it is but as far as his economics were concerned, if it was a moneymaker for the city, wasn't getting anybody's way, he was okay with that too. And then Pete says, well, I'm not going to be competing with ours. He says, the people that are going to get in are people that basically don't drink, don't want to listen to the music. They just want to be left alone gaming. You see what I mean?
I disagree.
He's a salesman.